Hi, I'm Jan Langbein, and I'm the CEO of Genesis Women's Shelter and Support here in Dallas, Texas. I've been the CEO for 33 years. Genesis has been here 40. We are a full-service response for women and children who are survivors of domestic violence. We offer counseling, advocacy, information, referral, access to civil legal representation. We offer shelter, we offer transitional housing, and of course non-residential support as well. A lot of people think domestic violence is a black eye or a split lip, but what we know is more than that. Domestic violence is actually a relationship where that is based on power and control. One person has control over the other person. They may define where they live, they may define who they can speak with, or they may give them money or not give them money. I mean, the control over another person defines it as domestic violence. Domestic violence takes many forms. Certainly it can be physical, but it can also be sexual, it can be emotional, it can be verbal, it can be spiritual, it can be all kinds of ways that one person has power over another person and controls their lives. One of the things that makes domestic violence so difficult to define and understand and live in is that there is very much a cycle to the violence. The perpetrator's not violent all the time. So, many times it's confusing because there may be fighting, but then there's a period of calm. We call it the cycle of violence. It has three distinct phases. Arguing and tension building moves into actual physical abuse, moves into what we call a honeymoon phase, where there may be promises, I'll never do it again. We'll go to the pastor and talk to him about it. Oh, I'm bringing you flowers and a gift. And right at that moment, there's a nanosecond that maybe there's hope. Maybe he's trying again. Maybe I need to be more forgiving. And so we start trying to explain it to ourselves. But what we know is that's not linear. It's a cycle. And it will go back into the tension building, into the assaults, into the honeymoon again and again and again. That may happen once a week, that may happen once a year, or it may happen several times a day. And so what we also know is the amount of time between the episodes will decrease, it'll happen more often, and the amount of severity of the assaults will increase. So it's going to get worse. This is how it's the cycle of violence that makes me so sure when I say, if he hits you once, he will hit you again, and it will continue to be worse. Another thing that moms are concerned about is the well-being of our children. We know for sure that children who are raised in a violent home are getting on-the-job training to be tomorrow's abusers and to be tomorrow's victims. A lot of moms tell us, well, they were in the bedroom, they didn't know when the fighting was happening. I guarantee you they know. And these little kids who watch and listen as mom is terrified and dad is terrifying, that trauma just one layer lays over another, and moms are so concerned about their children and feel like maybe they need their dad or we need a two-parent family. But the truth of the matter is, children who are raised in a violent home are getting on-the-job training to be tomorrow's victims and to be tomorrow's abusers. We'd like to think that they can't hear it, maybe they're in the other room or something, but the truth of the matter is they know. They absolutely do know. There are studies that say that even the witnessing child can have the same physiological damage, the ulcers, the overeating, the undereating, as someone who is physically assaulted directly. So if someone is staying for their kiddos, that's not the answer. If someone is staying because they think they have no other resources, that's not the answer either. If they're staying because they think it's their fault, it is never their fault. Abuse is never deserved, no matter what. Genesis Women's Shelter and Support is a full-service response for women and their children who are survivors of intimate partner violence. We operate a residential campus where there is short-term emergency stay, but also longer-term transitional housing. There is a non-residential component where moms who either haven't gotten out or they've gotten out and they have other residential resources, but they still need access to the counseling and the advocacy and access to civil legal representation. We know that domestic violence impacts all communities, all faith communities, all ethnicities, all economic groups. There is no neighborhood where women are completely safe. There is no economic level where women are completely safe. So we provide services to anyone who needs us. Most often it's Dallas or Dallas County, but when someone calls us from another state or another community, we're absolutely there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to answer that call. There are no charges for our services. There are no strings attached. It's 100% confidential. And in addition to the helpline, which survivors can call, we also have a text line. So maybe someone doesn't feel safe to make that call. They can still text while perhaps their abuser's in the shower or their abuser has gone out to take the trash. However we can communicate, however we can stand beside somebody, we stand ready to do that at Genesis. Number one question I'm asked almost every single day is, why does she stay? Why doesn't she just get out? And usually that's followed by, boy, if that were me, this is what I would do. But the question we really ought to be asking is, why does he do it? Why would someone beat his family? Why would somebody destroy that trust or those marriage vows? That's the question we ought to be asking. We ought to be asking, how can this person be held accountable? It is a crime. How can we hold that criminal accountable? Because abuse is not going to stop until the abuser stops abusing. But back to the question, the number one question, why does she stay? There are so many reasons, and it varies between family and marriage and culture and everything. But you know, one of the reasons that she stays is that he says, if you leave, I will hurt you. I will hurt the children. She stays because she doesn't think that she has any place to go. She doesn't know about a Genesis Women's Shelter and support. She stays because she's afraid for the children. She stays because she loves him. You know, this is the father of my children. I've been married to this man, and yet he is abusive to me and to my children. She may stay because she's not documented to be in this country. May think that's the reason to stay. She stays because she thinks it's her fault. I've never heard a woman say, you know, he hurts me because he lacks conflict resolution skills. We know that she may feel safer in that abusive relationship because 75% of all women who are killed after they've left. Now, that's not a reason not to leave. What that says is we need to leave with safety plans. We need to have, you know, money put away or a signal with my next door neighbor to help by calling the police. Genesis can do all of that. That's the thing about Genesis. We can walk a survivor through all of those kinds of things to keep her safe and her children safe as she begins to make a safety plan and a plan for the rest of her life. If you're in an abusive relationship, please know you're not alone, that there is help and there is hope, and it is a phone call away. Our helpline at Genesis is answered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The number is 214-946-HELP. And just know that there is help, there is hope, and there will always be someone there to walk beside you in the decisions that you make regarding your life and that of your children.